Hello everyone, I've got another interview with a successful trader who is just about to go onto our live trading account, hopefully generate us lots and lots of profit. A crypto trader who goes by the alias of Trader Koala has some interesting insights and including a fascinating story about trading a small trading account into a very large trading account during the bull run after the pandemic. So I hope you enjoy it. Well, congratulations on passing our evaluation stage, and obviously we'll shortly be giving you a live account as well, so well done for that.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. How did you find Funded Trading Plus then? What attracted you to us?
Yes, I was looking for a platform that I could trade crypto on, and I know 8cap is one of the guys that do that. So I randomly was just searching for like an 8cap broker, and Funded Trader Plus showed up on the Google search. And what I really liked was it seemed like you weren't giving super high leverage, and you were giving a variety of instruments, and everything was very clear. Like the rules were very clear, and it didn't seem like, it was just another one.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing is we've spoken about this with a few people about the leverage. People,
Hmm.
it's like if you get too much leverage, you will blow up your account. That's the reason high leverage is
Absolutely.
given. That's the way brokers used to give high leverage, and the reason it got capped. It's
Hmm.
something I've discussed on here before. But yeah, it's about just having sensible leverage. You can still make good returns in a day, and I think the crypto offerings are very wide. I mean, 8cap I think make 250 crypto markets on MT5,
Hmm.
which is pretty unique. I mean, there's so many crosses and pairs and indices that I've never even heard of before. It's
Yeah.
pretty wide going in that respect. I mean, what's your trading history and background? What got you interested in it?
Yeah, so I've been just interested in markets since I want to say 2008 when Lehman crashed. That's when I was first interested and introduced into markets. And then when I sort of started was like, how do you buy a stock? How do you sell a stock? I was really interested in just like it's kind of a game that you need to figure out. And then as I sort of started my trading journey there, it was, well, it's not just a game of, let's say, technical analysis, but it's a game against yourself, right? And then it's sort of a puzzle you need to figure out, a puzzle with yourself, a puzzle with the markets. And that's kind of what I love about it. It's kind of that challenge and it's ever evolving.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. It's something you can never master, isn't it? It's like
Hmm.
you can always get better. It's not like you reach
Yeah,
the top level of a company and you've arrived, if you like. There's never really an end destination, is there? And I
right.
think a lot of people I think that's very scary for.
Yeah.
Whereas people have
For
obviously got the mind.
me, especially like as an entrepreneur, that's kind of a part of it. It's just like there's always this unknown thing, and you can always sort of like I built businesses, and then there's always the next thing you could do, and you can never really perfect a business. There's always things you can improve.
Yeah, I think you sort of find that of a lot of successful traders is they have that extra sort of they're able to embrace risk and uncertainty, whereas most people are
Hmm.
happy to compromise and take the regular. There's nothing, I'm not judging. That's the way some people are, ready to take the regular paycheck and the consistency and the security, which
Hmm.
obviously bleeds into wider life as well. Whereas a lot of traders have that entrepreneurial spirit. They've usually got other things going on, and it's just the uncertainty and risk that they find quite thrilling and challenging, and that's just the way they are. And thankfully, we do have people like that because they're the people who build things and create things.
Absolutely.
So, what do you like to trade then? You mentioned crypto. What are your favorite cryptos to trade?
So it so as far as liquidity goes, I'd say Ethereum is definitely the top crypto I like to trade, and the reason is, and here's the interesting thing is Ethereum is leveraged Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's going to move, let's say, like 1%, ETH will probably move like maybe 2%. And then on leverage, you're sort of leveraging that. And that's why you don't really need a lot of leverage to make good returns in crypto. So I'd say that's probably the main thing that I trade. And then it's probably the top 30. And it all goes on sort of narrative and liquidity, and sort of what events are there. So I've been in this space, in the crypto space since end of 2016, beginning of 2017.
Okay.
So that's sort of it's just keeping up with that sort of like world is what I use, like the news events and sort of what drivers are there, help me determine like what pairs I'm going to trade.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's quite a broad brush then. If it's the top 30 you look at, I mean, I don't think I'd even name 30 of them, maybe five, but not so much my bag. But so that sort of leads you on to ask you, how do you actually trade them? Is it technical? Is it fundamental? What goes into decision
Yeah.
making in order to buy or sell?
So yeah, so for me, it's always so the chart is always number one, but when technical analysis meets fundamental analysis, that's when you have those best trades, and that's when you can swing them over, a few days to a few weeks potentially. And that's why I had reached out to you about holding them over the weekend, and you had told me like you just need to close them out on Friday. I think it was at 4:30, and then reopen them the next
Yeah,
hour. Yeah.
yeah, we do have a flattened Friday. I mean, that may change in the future, but it's
hmm
just a case of managing our risk at the moment. But yeah, crypto is one that people can trade at the weekend that people are finding very, very useful, if you like. Some people, they've gone back to the 9 to 5 jobs and don't want to force trades in a day. So
hmm
that's why crypto markets are so unique. And one of the reasons they're so disruptive to traditional sort of financial instruments is the fact you can trade them pretty much 24/7 unless there's
hmm
stuff going on with hard forks, soft forks, and all that type of stuff that I don't
Yeah.
understand really. So what sort of strategies do you use then? Are you do like reversals or
Um,
trend following or?
so there's a couple strategies. So SR, it's like support resistance for sure, but really naked charting for the most part. But order blocks, divergences, and Fibonacci's. Those and Fibonacci, sorry. Um, I could literally not have anything, and just if you give me if I could see a divergence and I have my Fib tool, and because the crypto markets are like so inefficient, they like Fibonacci just works so well with them. Like you can predict where they're going to top out or where you're going to see a wick, just because of how inefficient those markets are.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I quite like fibs for retracements on the 50%, 61.8.
hmm
But what's interesting about crypto is you mentioned you got in at 2016. That's when it all started really growing in popularity and exploding. Obviously, Bitcoin was the headline where it was going up
hmm
rapidly. Was the end of 16 or 17, whichever year it was, when it went crazy and
17,
everyone,
yeah.
yeah, when everyone was getting really interested in it. And then my question was always like, well, we haven't really seen sort of traditional volatile price action or patterns. And as time's gone on, then you realise it is so much very, very technical. And you
hmm
can actually rely on that. Whereas before it was a case of just go long, which a lot of people
Yeah,
got a
it was
nasty
long
surprise
only.
from. Yeah, just hodl
Yeah,
as the meme goes.
right.
But then it was a case of now Bitcoin has obviously had some oscillations, all time highs, very low, all time highs of in
hmm
between. As an example of one crypto, you can actually start using fibs and technical analysis, and it actually
hmm
works.
Yeah,
So it gives people a lot more confidence to trade it now. It's actually proven the concept, if you like, in that respect.
for
So I think
sure.
that's
And to your point, 2016, 2017, like you used to see 30 to 50% moves a day. Now, if we see like a 2% day, that's huge. So the market's definitely maturing.
Hi guys, just to let you know, we do have a Discord community. If you have a look in the chat just below this video, you'll be able to join that by clicking the link where there's lots of funded trading content and discussion to help you try and achieve your funded trading goals. It is, and in terms of I guess mainstream adoption, the volatility has to be reasonable, doesn't it?
hmm
You can't do business in something in the morning and then in the afternoon it's worth 30% less or 30% more. That's just too
hmm
volatile for. But I guess now there's a futures market for Bitcoin as an example. I think that maybe helps a little bit in that respect, but it still certainly moves. It still certainly moves quickly,
Totally
and
agree.
people do get caught
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But yeah, it's here to stay. I think what's fascinating about crypto is just how so many people have heard of it have got no interest in trading. The stereotypical
hmm
your hairdresser, your barber talks to you about it. Everyone,
Right.
even my parents who know nothing about investing, mention it. So it's just that way it's able to get in sort of the wider public conscience is quite remarkable, if you like.
Totally agree. My parents actually were just talking to me about it the other day, so I totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say your biggest trading success is?
Biggest trading success was turning a $10,000 account to 625K.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was in the span of 4 months during last year's not 2021, 2020 bull run. Yeah, and that's why I was sort of saying like when the crypto markets specifically trend, they trend, and you sort of just want to ride them. And it's again sort of the same strategies that I mentioned. Just I look for divergences. And this is why the fibs are super important for me because like you'll get the 1.618, 2.618, and it just keeps going and hits those fibs level to level and retrace to the previous fib level to level. So you started taking profit, compounding, taking profit, compounding, until the chart changes, of course.
Yeah, so you're looking at fib extensions as well, rather than just the
Extensions, yeah,
yeah.
that's where
Okay,
that's
that's
my
interesting.
edge.
Yeah, it's not something I've explored much. I usually use the retracements, but yeah, that's interesting. So that is an incredible success. That was mainly just riding because crypto when the pandemic happened, the test was, is it going to be a safe haven like gold traditionally would? Will it go
Hmm.
up? And actually, it went
Right.
down. Bitcoin went down. Was it 3,000-4,000 or something like that at the pit of the pandemic? And obviously, then it rallied up to about
Yeah, I think
60,
it was
70,000.
like 3,200-ish, around there, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was insane and doing the opposite of what everyone did. Now, but it flushed everyone
Hmm.
out who got scared, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
all the smart money came in as was seen. So that was fascinating to see that the cryptos were getting on downtrend, just like my specialty, the indices were when the Nasdaq was going down horrendously. Now and it did the same thing and rallied up incredibly. So yeah, there were huge opportunities in the pandemic, and it sounds like you've done well. So I'm going to ask you the other question, and I hope it's not going to be you lost all that money. What's your worst trading
Hmm.
experience?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot, but I'd say the biggest one was taking a six. So I had a six-figure winner essentially, which then became a four-figure winner just because I just didn't want to let go. I was like, no, like things are gonna reverse, but it didn't, and thank God that was like in the early days. So like that wouldn't be like me today, but that was like previous me, where I would take those big winners and just want more, and they would just reverse against you. Um,
Yeah, I think the previous me statement's quite good, and that I think every successful trader has to look at an early trading self. 'Cause I think everyone's going to fail, everyone's going to mess up. I mean, yours
mhm.
sounds quite a severe magnitude going from 6 to 4, but regardless, relative to each person, everyone is going to lose money trading, and they're going to lose the money that stings for them. And then the question is, and I remember doing that. I lost £9,000, which is what $13,000-14,000 when I'd gained
Mhm.
it and lost it, which when I was younger was a lot significant amount of money. And you make a decision at that point, and I would assume you're the same way. It's either like I'm going to learn what to do, or
Mhm.
I'm going to stop because this is too horrendous. So I guess you did that and got to the point where you can say that's my previous me. I won't behave like that anymore.
Absolutely, and that's sort of what helped me with that previous like 10 to 600 is that was honestly just taking 1 to 3% risk per trade. So it wasn't just like a buy and hold. It was actually like risk 1 to 3%, and um, it just compounds. You
Yeah,
end up learning that as a trade. Like it just the math is there, and you can turn a small account to a very big account in a risk managed way.
yeah. I mean, Warren Buffett, I think he said, his compounding is the eighth miracle of the world, or something similar. He
Hmm.
may have said it, might be misquoted, whatever. Whoever said that quote,
Yeah, yeah,
it's compounding is incredible, and compounding usually works against us. Like you're paying compound interest on mortgages, on credit cards, and stuff like that,
true.
and it just keeps you
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
gutter, doesn't it? Whereas if you can try and turn compounding into your favor, then it becomes something that's incredibly powerful. But people are so greedy in the short term; they're not willing to wait a few years in
Mm-hmm.
order to let compounding take effect because we're such short-term thinkers in that respect. So, how long do you
100%.
typically hold your trades for? Then are you sort of intraday trader or?
Depends on the conditions. So right now we're in a pretty bearish market. So I'm scalping more than I am holding.
Okay,
So I'd say the longest trade I've held for the past 2 weeks has been like a day and a half, 2 days.
okay,
But just with these conditions, I'm trying to just like, in and out, in and out. Just because there is so much volatility. I mean, Snapchat was up 60% yesterday, which still blows my mind because, you have these tech companies that are trading like penny stocks.
yeah. The Facebook earnings really shut the market. I think with the Nasdaq at the moment, the because it's so outrageously high, and now the
Hmm.
pandemic sort of there's light at the end of the tunnel, and some of the earnings. I mean, Google still put good earnings in, but Facebook's
Yeah.
growth was, they're saying TikTok is undermining them and things like that. And then people are getting a reality
Hmm.
check. There's not going to be this infinite growth, if you like. It's not guaranteed. So the volatility is good, but people got to be careful. But you sound like you can adapt to it, where some people get stubborn and just try and apply the same strategies.
Hmm.
Like there's so many people just trying to, when the Nasdaq was having its sort of correction recently, it was over 10%, so we can call it a correction. But so many people are just trying to pick the bottom and get long. And I was trying to get long because I do,
Yeah.
but with tight stops. But people are just trying to get long and holding, and they're blowing up accounts. And then when it has reached a bit of a bottom, I'm not sure what it's done today. People are doing the opposite, and it's like just get rid of your losers, as the lesson
Yeah.
always is with trading. But it's
Yeah.
so hard
Yeah.
to do for people,
And no
unfortunately.
trade is a trade too, no position's that's a trade too.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what would you say, what would your advice be for sort of aspiring new trader?
Number one thing would be the strategy is easy. Manage your risk, and it's okay to take a loss. Like that's the what's the phrase that I say? It's like charge it to the game essentially. Like
Yeah,
this is yeah, just charge it to the game because this is a game where there's going to be winners and losers. If you manage your risk, you have a decent strategy. Like you will make money, and
yeah.
go slow. Like just go slow. You don't need to go from 0 to 100 in like a day or two.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we always say it's like if you owned a shop, you have to buy stock for the shop, don't you? Or
Hmm.
if you own a food shop, you have to buy food. It's just a cost. Losses are a cost of doing business, which I think is a Van Tharp's quote. But yeah, essentially, that is it. But we don't think of it like that. We take it very personally,
Yeah.
and it's hard. Yeah, once you can rip those plasters off, it makes all the difference in the world. So, just sort of finally, then, have you got top three tips for people help to help people pass funded trading tests?
So I think the first thing is dial down your leverage. So that's the first thing. The second thing is with you guys, it's amazing because you don't have 30 days. You have as long as you need, which
Mm.
means you don't need to freak out and be like, 30 days, like I need to take this huge trade and like triple down my size to make it. So you have the luxury of going slow. And then third thing is just manage your risk. Manage your risk, go slow, and just follow your rules.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the reason we got rid of the time limitation is it was one of the most annoying things. I mean, when we actually went through
Hmm.
so many trading tests, and it's like it's designed for you to fail. Let's not beat
Yeah.
around the bush. Putting my business hat side of the
Hmm.
industry on, I know any rule is either gonna any rule you input on someone is going to increase failure rate. So the more
Yeah.
that's as simple. It's a case of how many people you. It's a very clear sliding scale. How many people do
Hmm.
you want to fail? How many do you want to pass? And if you start putting time limitations on, you start not letting people hold overnight. Start letting them fail if they try and trade too big. All of these are going to increase your failure rate.
Hmm.
So that's why that was a big complaint was the time limitation. So we scrapped that because we want traders to be able to express themselves. But yeah, an interesting insight anyway. So yeah, I mean we're looking forward to seeing you generate some profit and paying you out that profit when we sort your live account out shortly. But yeah, thank you very much for the interview. Some certainly insightful things there. But it's just all the core lessons of trading being reinforced, isn't it? It never changes.
Yeah.
Manage your risk appropriately. Cut your losses, and then it provides that stable foundation to build upon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited, and thank you for having me. And I'm super excited to just be working together.
Perfect.
And
Thank you.
yeah, excited. Thank you.
Brilliant. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Do consider subscribing to the channel and have a look at some more videos.